Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. How's everybody doing? I'm very tired. It's very late at night. I'm filming this video and I honestly want to thank a lot of the people out there, especially the people that don't watch this channel. If you do not watch this channel, I know you're going to think it's crazy, but I am 100% thanking you right now because every once in a while, somebody stumbles upon my videos or they stumble upon one of those interesting posts on a lot of these collecting forums that go, look at this guy, Reserved Investments. He's telling you not to invest in the antiques and collectibles trade, which I want to set the record straight. That is 100% false. You can make money in the antiques and collectibles trade. It is a valid asset class. I myself invest over the short term and over the long term in the overall antiques and collectibles trade. Now, the truth is, I know how to do it. I've been doing it for decades on average, and I learned at a very young age how to enter these markets, how to analyze these markets, and how to potentially profit from these markets. Spoiler alert, I am also financially established. A lot of the people out there that are unfortunately entering these markets at present time are just emotionally attached to the items that they collect and they claim to quote unquote invest in. And if you are truly only emotionally attached to the items that you are investing in, I hate to tell you, all studies show it's going to most likely end very badly for you over the long term, especially when you compare your gains to what you could have gotten in traditional financial assets or just by becoming a landlord if real estate's your thing. Just to put those two examples on the table. Now, where am I going with this? Well, in the year 2022, we have a lot of crazy people out there doing some insane things, especially in the antiques and collectibles trade. Case in point, a number one insignia that was cut from a copy of Action Comics 1, graded and authenticated by CGC, sold for $7,101 in a Comic Connect auction. I kid you not. You can research this. This is crazy, in my opinion. Now, I know the Timmys, the Kimmys, the Poindexters, and some, to be fair, relatively sane, successful people are going to come into my comment section and they're going to argue, Sean, you don't understand. This is a piece of one of the most important comic books in the history of comic book collecting. I get it. I understand this is a rare comic. But anybody who is crazy enough to pay $7,101 to own a piece of this, I have to question their sanity because there are so many other items, collectibles, investments in the overall antiques and collectibles trade that you could have put your money into that would have been more of a surefire thing than this. Now, I already know what my critics are going to say. Sean, you do not understand. The person that paid $7,101 for this made a smart investment because probably there is a greater Timmy out there that'll pay $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to have this just to say they own a piece of Action Comics 1. So to be fair, this particular Timmy who bought this particular item may not be a Timmy. It just depends if the greater fool theory comes into play here and he finds a greater fool than him who pays a premium for this, either in the short term or in the long term. Now, personally, would I be buying an item like this? No. And to be fair, I just spent $7,000 on a rare coin. We'll talk about that in another video. I'm not going to go into detail on that in this. But if you would have put this in front of me or the rare coin, I would have chose the rare coin. You guys can feel free to cut me up in the comment section. And to be fair to all my pop culture collectors out there, if you would have put this in front of me and another equivalent rare investment grade comic book that I would want to buy that features a first appearance of a character or something that's iconic, in most cases, I would have probably chosen that over this little piece of Action Comics 1 that just sold for a little over $7,000. So you can do with this what you will. I'm just stating that, in my opinion, I don't think this was a very good long-term investment. Again, this person may be buying it. He may have already found a buyer that says, you know what, I'll give you $10,000 for that right now, Timmy, just because I can then state I own a piece of Action Comics 1. And this brings me to my second talking point in this particular video. I kind of am getting a little bit upset with some of the more established, some of the more respectful grading companies out there that are doing gimmicks like this just because it increases attention to either their grading or the markets that they serve overall. I'm sure that the overall outside the collectibles realm news media is going to run with a story like this, and you're probably going to see something appear either in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or the Philadelphia Inquirer that, hey, this particular piece of Action Comics 1 just sold for $7,101. And now you're going to have Timmy's, Kimmy's, and Poindexters that may have collected comic books as a kid coming into the market thinking comic books are a great investment, not realizing that if you are investing in these markets, you have to understand the proper risk versus reward analysis. Most people that do well in the antiques and collectibles trade are already financially established, and in most cases, spoiler alert, guys, they're already successful investing in financial markets, investing in real estate, investing in other asset classes. They're just applying those same fundamentals to this market, whether they're doing it over the short term or over the long term. There is a big difference, and I want to make this very clear. There's a big difference between the mindset of a collector, of a speculator, of an investor, and a dealer. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing, hint, hint, a whiteboard video at some point in the future where I look at the different conflicting mindsets of a collector versus an investor versus a speculator versus a dealer that are all operating in the overall antiques and collectibles trade. You guys need to understand this. I myself am a collector investor. I am more on the investor side. At the age of 45, knowing that I only have roughly maybe 30, maybe at best 40 years left on this planet, when I look at a market, I no longer get emotionally attached like somebody who is 20 or 25 looks at that same market and goes, oh my gosh, I grew up with that particular item or thing or collectible or franchise or intellectual property. I have to own it. And that's why some of you guys make very bad decisions. You're buying a liability that you think is an asset, and you're going on a lot of these forums, and all is what you're doing is entering an echo chamber, and you're listening to everybody else tell you, everybody loves Batman, everybody loves Pokemon, everybody loves Super Mario, everybody loves Boba Fett. Don't you watch the Book of Boba Fett streaming right now on Disney? This stuff is awesome. You can't make a mistake by buying this stuff. I'm sorry, guys. That is a very dangerous perspective and mindset to have in the year 2022, where wealth inequality is at an all-time high. If that is your perspective, you are going to get slapped multiple times in the face with a stale donut. I don't want to see anybody end up buying something that they think is a quote-unquote investment to have it turn out to be a true liability. And that's a lot of the mistakes that I am seeing occurring in the overall antiques and collectibles trade in the year 2022. A lot of you out there have never been involved in a bear market in the overall antiques and collectibles trade where you are systematically investing in a market that pretty much drops 30, 40, 50% in value and never comes back. And a lot of you think that that'll never happen with Pokemon cards. Sean, that'll never happen with comic books. Sean, that'll never happen with video games. But yet, what the mistake you're making is you are buying a lot of these items at all-time highs. You know, in another video I'm going to be doing, Hakes Auctions just ended. And they had a massive Star Wars lots in their auction that sold for record prices. Anything that had the words Boba Fett in it and was vintage sold for a record price. And I have people reaching out to me via emailing me, just asking me what I think of some of these end prices that were achieved in that auction. And I keep responding, the seller got a great payday. The sellers in any of those auctions knew exactly what they were doing. And I'm going to let you know in on a little secret. 2 of those particular consigners are clients of mine. And I'm the one that told them, now's the time to sell Boba Fett collectibles if you're selling it. So you guys that are paying a high price for some of this stuff, I'm sorry to tell you, you do not know what you are doing. You are investing in reverse. End of the video. We'll talk more about that in another upcoming video. Thank you for joining me. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Even if you disagree with me, it's okay. We can still be friends. We can have a disagreement and things like this. If you want to spend $7,101 on a small piece of an Action Comics 1, hey, you do you. I just don't think over the long run, investing that type of money in that particular item is going to be a good investment. I think what happened was you bought into the hype of the grading company and the current insane market that we're seeing for vintage comic books at present time, and you kind of got caught up in the hype. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll know in another 10 to 20 years. Thank you again for watching.